proportion. First of all, what is ratio? We hear the ratio of income ratio of A and B. Or let us say height ratio, weight ratio, or even population ratio between India and China. We know we have overtaken the Chinese population, right? So 1 point whatever billion is to 1 billion. So what is ratio in fact? It is comparison. Comparison of what? Comparison of two quantities. Can I compare any two quantities? No. I have to compare only two similar quantities, and that is done by division. So the definition of ratio is comparison of two similar quantities by division. There are two terms to the ratio A and B. We write it as A by B. The first term is called the antecedent. The second one is called the consequent, which follows. And there are some properties of ratio. It's not coming out. Number one, ratio is a mere number. By which what we mean, it does not have any units, because units of the terms must be the same. Next, number three, the order of the terms must be maintained. The meaning is, generally A is to B is not equal to B is to A. Number four, I can write 3 is to 4 as 6 is to 8 or 30 is to 40. What is done there is, by multiplying or dividing the terms of the ratio, the terms of the ratio by a constant, the value of the ratio remains unchanged. Now what is the dash for? Can I multiply by any number? No. It must be a non-zero constant, because 0 by 0 form is not defined. And finally, for that matter, denominator b cannot be 0. Okay, let's go to now types of ratio. What you have seen in 4 is in fact called equal ratio. When I say two numbers are in the ratio 5 is to 6, they are not necessarily 5 and 6. So 3x is to 4x is the equal ratio of 3 is to 4. Number 2, inverse ratio. What is the inverse ratio? B is to A is the inverse of A is to B. Example, very simply, speed ratio of two persons, A and B, is 3 is to 2. Then what will happen to their time ratio? Obviously it is 2 is to 3. Speed is more, time is less. Speed is less, time is more. Then what is compounded ratio? Compounding means you just multiply any number of ratios, then the compounded ratio of 1 by 2 and 2 by 3, 3 by 4 and 4 by 5 will be just the product of these fractions, and you will find they simplify to 1 by 5. Next, I think we have to give this duplicate ratio. A square is to B square is called the duplicate ratio of A is to B. Number 5, triplicate ratio. A A cube is to B cube is called the triplicate ratio of A is to B. What is important is this, which is called combined ratio. How will you combine two ratios? A is to B is to C is called the combined ratio of A is to B and B is to C. Let us learn it by an example. Phi A is to B is to C. If A is to B is 2 is to 3 and B is to C is 4 is to 5. Just write the letters A, B, C. Below that, the corresponding numbers. Now, B is related to A and C, but differently. When B is 3, A is 2. When B is 4, C is 5. We have to make B a constant. Take the LCM. That is 12. That means you have multiplied 3 by 4. You have to multiply 2 also by 4. Now we have multiplied 4 by 3. You have to multiply 5 also by 3. So you have combined two ratios. Now, I can give an example for this. Divide rupees 50,000 among A, B and C such that A is to B is 5 is to 6 and C is to D is 7 is to 8. So what are you supposed to find? The combined ratio of A is to B is to C. Writing the numbers, we know we can just mark the arrows, then multiply. We'll get the numbers, find the total parts. 48 plus 42, 90 plus 35 is 125. I'm giving some basic. Let's see one commonly asked kind of sum. The income ratio of A and B is 3 is to 2. Each of them saves rupees 2,000 and their expenditure ratio is 5 is to 3. Question is, find their respective income. So, the basic relation between income, expenditure and savings we know. Income minus expenditure is savings, or income minus savings should give you the expenditure. So let's write the income ratio of A and B. What is that? 3 is to 2. Definitely not 3 rupees, 2 rupees. We know we have to write equal ratio 3x, 2x. From the income of A, remove 2,000. That's the savings. From the income of B, remove 2,000. So income minus savings gives you expenditure ratio. Equate to 5 by 3. Cross multiply. See what you get. You get x is equal to 4,000. So you have A's income, which is 3x, will be 3 into 4, 12,000. And B's income, that will be 2x, 2 into 4, 8,000. One more. If I ask you to divide number 355 into 3 parts such that 3 times the first part, 5 times the second part, and 7 times the third part may all be equal. So let us take the parts to be A, B, C. So what are the equations? When I add the parts, I must get the number. Equation 1. The second equation is 3 times first and 5 times second and third times C. 7 times C are all equal. Now we can write 3A is equal to 5B and 5B is equal to 7C. We can also go by substitution, but we are in ratio, so we'll use the ratio method of finding the combined ratio. So what is A is to B is to C? 5 is to 3 and 7 is to 5. We can mark the arrows, get the combined ratio as 35, 21 and 15. Total parts will be 71. So if you want A, immediately you have 5 times of 35, and B will be just 21 into 5 times, and C will be 15 into 5 times. you have the answer. I'll take you to the other part, which is called proportion. What is proportion? How does it differ from ratio? If you have two ratios and they can be equated, then the quantities taken in order are said to be in proportion. So what do you understand? You can equate any number of ratios. The result is called a proportion. If only three numbers are in proportion, then what can you write? First by second, second by third. That will give you b square is equal to ac. Now b is equal to root ac. What is b called? We know its geometric mean, but here we call it the mean proportional, not proportion as it is given in the book. Mean proportional to a and c is called, the obvious name is called the third proportional to a and b. Let's find mean proportional to, let us say 18 and 8. So I want b. We know it is the product of AC, 144, that is 12. I can give you some easy numbers. So b will be product of 36 and 25, which will be 30. Now let us find the third proportional to. That means we are finding c, which is b squared by a. So I can go by, say 25 and 30. So c is equal to b squared by a, 30 squared by 25, 5 times, 6 times. So you can find, if you compare these two, you can understand that. Or I can give you 81 and 90. So it is 90 square by 81. So you know, mine goes 10 times. The answer is 100. If a by b is equal to c by d, then how many ways you can write? We can write a by c is equal to d by, b by d. Number 2, b by a is equal to d by c. Number 3, we can add 1 to both sides, in which case a plus b by b is c plus d by d. It's given wrong in your text. And a by b minus 1 is t by t minus 1. So a minus b by b should be c minus d by d. If I divide 4 by 5, I'll get a plus b by a minus b, which is c plus d by c minus d. Also, if a by b is equal to c by d, then AD is equal to BC. A is to B is C is to D. A to D is B is to C. A and D are called extreme ratios. B is called in between ratio. A and D are again extreme ratios. So AD is equal to BC should give you the well-known property which says product of extremes is equal to the product of means. Proportion is also called a variation. To vary is to change. There are two types of variations. One is called direct variation, and the other one is inverse or indirect variation. Let's look at the first one, which is called direct variation. What is the meaning of that? Two quantities x and y vary directly. They change directly, meaning what? The increase in the x should bring in the corresponding increase in the y. Or more of x is more of y, less of x is less of y. We remove the constant of proportionality by multiplying by a constant. What do you get? X by y is a constant. What is x by y? If the dash of two quantities, what do you fill with that? Is a constant, then they will vary directly. What must be a constant? A by B or X by Y is called ratio. So for two quantities to vary directly, what should happen? The ratio must be a constant. Examples? More of one, more of another. If you are hiring a taxi by kilometer or by hour, what you are hiring is called rate. The rate is more, the cost is more. And if you are traveling distance, more distance will take more time. Less distance will take less time, keeping the speed constant. Mostly you get sums based on work and time and men. So more work takes you more time. More work also takes or needs more men. We'll look into some examples. Okay. Men, days. 20 men take 30 days. 30 men will take how long? We know they vary inversely. Men and time, less men, more days, more men, less days. So X will be what? As it is, you write. So it will be 20 days. Or, the product is constant. 20 into 30 is 30 into what? You'll get 20 days. Let's go for mixed variation. What is that? You can have direct and inverse. Let us take work, men, hours, and days. Suppose one work, I have 40 men working 8 hours. I take, say, 60 days. Now I have 1.5 times the work, 60, 10. How long will it take? So work and time, how do they vary? Directly. Men and time, always inverse. Time and time, always inverse. We know if it is direct, number below goes up. If it is inverse, write the numbers as it is. You will get the answer instantly. So it is 6 into 8, you get 48 days. Or, I recommend you to use this. M1, H1, D1 by W1 is M2, H2, D2 by W2. That also will give you the same answer. One example on proportion I'll give you. A fort of 2,000 soldiers has enough provisions to last for 50 days. But after 10 days, some men leave and the provision now lasts for 50 more days. Find how many left. Now we have only two variables. Men and days. 2,000 men, enough for 50 days. That was not to be. After 10 days, some of them leave. If nobody has left, after 10 days, 2,000 men were remaining, it would have come for proportionally 40 days. But it's given it came for 50 days. We know men and time vary inversely. More number of days tells you less number of men. How many less? Let us see. So 2000 minus x is what we want. It is inverse. Write the numbers as it is into 2000. That gets you 1600. So number of men left after 10 days were 400. To combine three ratios, let us write straight away A is to B is to C is to D. Below that the corresponding numbers. 0.6 is 3 by 5. This is 4 by 5. And then 5 is to 1. Draw the line, mark the arrows. A is the left three numbers, D is the right three. In between you have B and C. So if you want A, just multiply 3 into 4 into 5. If you want B, it is 5 into 4 into 5. If you want C, 5 into 5 into 5. If you want D, it is 5 into 5 into 1. We find 5 is common everywhere, we can knock off. So you get 12 to 20, 25 is to 5, so the option is B.
Because one page, one question.
Multiplicate ratio is square of the terms A and B, say 4 x plus 3 whole square by x plus 7 whole square is 4 by 9. That will give you x plus 3 by x plus 7. We take positive root, cross multiply 3x plus 9 to x plus 14, or x is equal to 5. Of side A will be root 3 by 4 a square, if you want to see the figure, equals side, and area of a square of side A is a square. What is asked is to compare area of a triangle with area of square, which is root 3 by 4 a square is to a square. Cancelling a square, you have the result root 3 is to 4. D is option. Ratio of three numbers is 5 is to 7 is to 13. Total parts, if you add up, you get 25, and difference between the greatest and the least is 13 minus 5 is 8 parts. What is given is 25 parts is 1250. It has to find 8 parts is how much? 8 by 25 into 1250. That goes 50 times. So your answer is 400. The option is Amit can read 35 words in 7 seconds. How many words can you read in 1 hour? In 1 hour, we have 16 to 60, 3,600 seconds. So, the number of words Amit can read in 1 hour, 7 seconds, it is 35, so 3,600, how much? So it is 18,000. The option is B. We know income minus expenditure is savings. So if you want to write the savings ratio of x and y, it will be 4x minus 5y for x and 5x minus 7y for y. It's given savings ratio of y is 3 times of x, which means 5x minus 7y must be 3 times 4x minus 5y. So get 12x minus 15y. Minus 7x is minus 8y, or x is equal to 8 by 7y. So the ratio of 4x minus 5 by 2, 5x minus 7y will be 4 into 8 by 7 y minus 5y, 5 into 8 by 7y minus 7y gives you 32 minus 35 by 40 minus 49, which is minus 3 by minus 9, or 3 by 9, which is 1 by 3, and the option is C. Whole numbers is 24. Which of the following cannot be their ratio? What is checked here is the factors of 24. The sum of parts must divide 24. A, the total is 1 plus 2 3, it divides 24. B, 1 plus 3, 4, divides 24. C, 3 plus 5, 8, divides 24. But 2 plus 5, 7, does not divide. So the ratio cannot be 2:5. The option is D. Such that 2a cube plus 5b square by 4a square plus 2b cube is 1.1. This come, if we work out, it'll take a lot of time. We go with the option. Take the option A, small a is 1 and b is equal to 2. If we substitute 2 into 1 plus 5 into 2 square by 4 into 1 plus 2 into 2 cube, see what you get. 20 by 4 plus 16. So 22 by 20 is same as 11 by 10 is 1.1, which is true. So the option is A. It's called back solving mean proportion. Mean proportion of two numbers A and B is square root of AB. So here mean proportion is square root of 1 by 6 into square root of 2.16 is root of 1 by 12.96, which will be 1 by 3.6. The option is C. 1/3 of A is equal to, half of A is equal to 1/3 of B is equal to 1/7 of C. If you look at the LCM of 2, 3 and 7, it is 42. They are all prime numbers. LCM is the product. So multiply by 42, you will get 21A is equal to 14B is equal to 6C. So we can find what is A by B, B by C. So we can find what is A is to B is to C. Two is to 3 and 3 is to 7. So we can multiply. 6 is to 9 is to 21. We find 3 is a common factor. So divide by 3, get 3 is to 2 is to 3 is to 7. 2 is to 3 is to 7 is the answer. The option is D. Third proportional is B square by A, which is equal to 0.9 into 0.9 by 0.3. 0.3 goes 3 times, so 3 into 0.9 is 2.7. The option is A. Let the numbers be A and B. What is given to you is the main proportional is 3 and the third proportional it is 24. So main proportional means root of AB is equal to 3, which gives you AB is square of 3, 9, call it as 1, and third proportional B square by A is equal to 24, which gives you B square is 24A. So solving one and 2, we get A is equal to 1.5 and B is equal to 6. Therefore, A is to B is 1.5 is to 6. It will be 1 is to 4. The option is A. 3A is equal to 2B is equal to 7C. So you can find A by B is equal to 2 by 3 and B by C is equal to 7 by 2. You can find A is to B is to C, 2 is to 3 and 7 is to 2. Mark the arrows and multiply. Which is 14 is to 21 is to 6. So what is asked is B minus A to B minus C is equal to 21 minus 14 by 21 minus 6, which is 7 by 15. The option is C. We know ratio is the comparison of similar quantities. Here the quantities are not similar, 10 paise, 20 paise and 50 paise. We convert them into the same unit. If you write ratio of coins, ten paise is to 25 paise is to 50 paise. Below that the ratio 5 is to 10 is to 11. We can convert them into rupees. So 5 into 1 by 10 of a rupee, X coins, and 10 into 1 by 4 and 11 into 1 by 2. Now we made them all same units. So 5 by 2x and 11 by 2x. Total value is 17 by 2x is equal to 170. So x will be 20. So the total number of coins is equal to 20 into total number of parts, that is 520. 5 plus 10 plus 11 is equal to 26. So the answer is D. The given ratio of weights are 2 is to 3 is to 5. Let the weight of these 3 pieces be 2, 3, 5 units respectively. then the total weight of the diamond is equal to 2 plus 3 plus 5 is equal to 10 units. So the original value of the diamond is equal to 10 power 3k, which is 1000k. Value of the pieces after the breakage is equal to 2 cube plus 3 cube plus 5 cube k times which is equal to 160k. Therefore, the loss is equal to 1000k minus 160k is equal to 840k. Given 840k is equal to 840 lakhs, which means k is equal to 1. The original value of the diamond is equal to 1000k is equal to 1000 crores. If A1 by A2 is equal to A3 by A4 is equal to A5 by A6, etc. is equal to M by N, then alpha A1 N1 beta A3 power N2 plus gamma A power 5 N3 etc. divided by alpha A2 power N1 plus beta A4 power N2 plus delta A6 power N3 plus etc. is equal to M by N. Therefore, 3 alpha square plus alpha cube plus 4 alpha for 4 plus 5 m power 5 plus 6 gamma power 6 the whole divided by 3 beta cube plus 4 b power 4 plus 5 n power 5 plus 6 delta power 6 is equal to 5 by 3. Number of incoming calls to outgoing calls per day of Morgan's Mobile is 3:1. Number of outgoing calls increased by 10 and the number of incoming decreases by 10. Then the ratio becomes 1:3. Find the number of calls Mohan receives per day on an average. So, let the number of incoming and outgoing. Calls be x and y. Then we have x is equal to 3y, that is 1, and x minus 10 by y plus 10 is equal to 1 by 3. Solving 1 and 2, we get x is equal to 15 and y is equal to 5. Therefore, the number of incoming calls is 15. Pigeons make 10 nests in 10 days. Then one pigeon can make one nest in how many days? So let us write the variables. Pigeons, number of nests and number of days taken. 10 pigeons can build 10 nests in 10 days. So one pigeon, one nest, how many days? Number of pigeons and nests vary directly. Number of pigeons and days vary inversely, which means pigeons vary n by d, which tells you p1 d1 by n1 will be p2 d2 by n2. Therefore, 10 into 10 by 10 is equal to 1 into d2 by 1, which means number of days taken will be 10. Milk and water in 2 samples is 5:2 and 7:5. Mixture of comprising equal quantities of the 2 samples is made, then the proportion of milk and water in the mixture is. So sample 1, we have milk and water, 5:2, total parts 7. Sample 2, the ratio is 7:5, total parts 12. We are looking for equal quantities. We must make the total parts equal. That will be the LCM of 7 and 12, which is 84. So, in the mixture, milk and water will be 5 into 12 plus 7 into 7 and 2 into 12 plus 7 into 5 shall be 60 plus 49, 24 plus 35. So the ratio in the mixture is 109:59. The option is C. John, Mr. Adam and Mr. Joe is in the ratio of 2:3:5. If the salary of Mr. Joe is 90,000 more than that of Mr. John, then the monthly salary of Adam is how much? Ratio of salaries between John, Adam and Joe is 2:3:5. Difference in parts of Joe and Mr. John is 5:2, which means 3 parts is equal to 90,000. Adam vacant spots is also 3. Therefore, the salary of Mr. Adam is 90,000. The option is C.